Did Islam truly improve the lives of enslaved people in 7th century Arabia? Was it common practice at the time to enslave people? And did Islam genuinely come up with revolutionary reforms and laws to improve the lives of enslaved people, as the Muslims claim? I will answer all of these questions and many more in the first video of this series, so please stay tuned till the end. The biggest objection against Islam and its Sharia is the permissibility of enslaving people. Today, Islamic clerics repeatedly say that slavery was a norm in the world before Islam, and Islam did not start this culture. Islamic clerics say slavery was a byproduct of many wars fought between the uncivilized tribes of Arabia. When a tribe defeated another, men were killed or enslaved, and women were taken into concubinage. Muslims claim that Islam, in its novel Sharia, gave moral rights to these enslaved people unheard of before Islam. So we need to answer the question of what was the condition of slavery in Arabia during the 7th century. Were concubinage and slavery a common practice among the peoples of Arabia? In the 7th century, uncivilized nomadic tribes inhabited the Arabian Peninsula. These people worshipped many deities, and due to the dry and rough climate and lack of resources, they were frequently engaged in tribal wars. The custom and rules of Islamic Sharia regarding slavery are primarily derived from the unforgiving tribal culture of these nomadic Arab tribes. But during the same period, before Islam, many people in Arabia treated enslaved people differently and much better than the Bedouin tribes. Let us see who these people were and how their attitude was better than Islam towards enslaved people. Old Testament is a set of books revered by both Jews and Christians. Let me read to you an extract from the 21st chapter of Deuteronomy, the 5th book of the Old Testament. When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God gives them into your hand, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife, and you bring her home to your house, she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall take off the clothes in which she was captured, and shall remain in your house and lament her father and her mother a full month. After that, you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if you no longer delight her, you shall let her go where she wants, but you shall not sell her for money, nor shall you treat her as a slave, since you have humiliated her. Many Jewish tribes were dispersed in the Arabian Peninsula and treated enslaved people much better than the Arab Bedouins. Jews of Arabia treated enslaved people and concubines in the light of the Torah. Jews of Arabia were also engaged in wars, and slavery was a common practice among them. Jews also considered it lawful to have sex with concubines, but with restrictions. The most critical limitation is the condition to marry the concubine before having sex. But why did Islam not stick to the principles regarding slave women written in the Torah? I will answer this question in a moment. Islam allows sex with slave women without marriage, unlike the Torah. There is no consideration for the consent of an enslaved woman in Islam. The slave woman could be a prisoner of war bought at a slave market, or an enslaved person by birth because her parents were slaves. Many Islamic scholars like Yasir Qadhi, Javed Ahmad Ghamdi, Dr. Israr Ahmad claim that Islam only allowed women to become sex slaves when captured during a battle, which is a futile attempt to mellow down the state of sex slavery in Islam. This only proves that even for learned Islamic scholars, the inhumane Islamic culture of slavery is shameful and indefensible. So they try to cover it up. Women captured and enslaved during a battle weren't the only sex slaves in Medina under the watchful eyes of Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet himself had many concubines in addition to about a dozen wives. His most famous concubine is Mary the Copt or Maria al-Qibtiyya. We will discuss the story of Mary in a separate video. Mary gave birth to Prophet Muhammad's son Ibrahim. Mary was not a prisoner of war. Instead, Prophet got her as a gift from Al-Makukas, an Egyptian ruler. Prophet had sex with her without marriage, and she bore him a child. A slave woman who gives birth to her master's children is known as Wald in Islam. The Prophet did not marry Maria because it was not necessary to marry a slave woman, according to the Islamic Shariah. According to Sunan Ibn Majah, hadith number 2517, during the Prophet's time, slave women were sold by their masters after giving birth to a master's child. The horrific practice of selling an Wald was abolished many years after the death of the Prophet during Umar ibn Khattab's caliphate. Children born of slave couples were sold like animals throughout Islamic history. As a free thinker, I consider all religions an insult to humanity. But still, let us compare the rules mentioned in the Torah with the Islamic Sharia. According to the Jewish law, a prisoner of war who is made into an enslaved person should be given a month's respite to mourn the death and separation of her parents and siblings. Only after this period ends may a marriage take place. Compared to Judaism, Islam does not give any kind of respite. Especially according to Islamic Sharia, if the enslaved woman is an unmarried minor, she can be used for sexual pleasure as soon as she is acquired. But if the enslaved woman was married, her Muslim enslaver must wait for her to go through a menstrual cycle before he could have sex with her. But if you know Islamic clerics and preachers, they will tell you Islam ended slavery, which is a blatant lie. Subscribe to this channel because in the second video of this series, I will prove with the help of Quran and Hadith that this claim is a complete lie. An example of what I mentioned earlier is mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari, Hadith number 2235. Safiya, a beautiful woman of Banu Nadir, was captured as a slave after the conquest of Khaybar by Prophet Muhammad. Safiya's father and her husband were killed by the Muslims. Prophet Muhammad had sex with Safiya while traveling back to Medina when her menstrual bleeding stopped. Can you imagine the plight of Safiya, who had to have sex with the same man who killed her father, husband, and other family members? Are you still convinced that Islam gave ideal rights to slaves? There is another condition in the Old Testament. Once a master has married an enslaved woman and had sex with her, it is forbidden to sell her or gift her to another person. According to the Jewish law, the only way to get rid of her is to free her. In contrast, there is no such restriction in Islam. Whenever a Muslim enslaver desires, he can sell or gift any enslaved woman he has had sex with. Islam allowed the next master to do the same, and the enslaved woman became sex objects. Anyhow, the story of cruelty does not end here. Even if a concubine becomes the mother of a child because of frequent sexual relationship, it was permissible to sell her during the time of the Prophet. According to Sahih al-Bukhari 7409, the companions used to practice coitus interruptus or al-azl in sex with concubines so they would not get pregnant and a reasonable price for them could be secured. Azl or coitus interruptus refers to ejaculation of semen outside of a woman's sexual organ. But then these companions of the Prophet asked the Prophet if they could practice coitus interruptus or not. The Prophet allowed it but told them they should not do it because if a soul is destined to be born, it will be born anyway. In this video, I have only compared Islamic Sharia and Jewish law regarding slavery. Through this comparison, you will be able to ask this question: was Islamic Sharia the best thing that ever happened to enslaved people, as Muslims claim? Was a better treatment of enslaved people unheard of before Islam? References to everything mentioned in this video are provided in the description for you to check out. Please remember to like and share this video, subscribe to this channel, click on the bell icon, and enable all notifications so you can catch the next episode of this series. Also support this channel on Patreon. The link to Patreon is provided in the description and end screen of this video. Click here to watch next episode of this series. Click here to see all the videos. Click here to support on Patreon. I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.